So sorry, I have just realized that I was on mute. So I will greet you guys again. Welcome to the digital edition of Overdrive, your one-stop shop for the latest automobile news and also the show where we answer all of your auto-related queries live. Just drop in a question with hashtag AskOD and we'll get back to you shortly. Feel free to use the comment section. To kickstart today's show, we've got the updated Royal Enfield Himalayan. It's received yet another update following up to the BS6 transition it made last year. This motorcycle now gets revised equipment, the tripper, navigation module, and new colorways. Watch and let us know in the live comment section what you think about it. And Rohit has just spent the entire day riding this motorcycle. He will be joining us shortly to answer all of your queries as well.
Hello Audi fam, this is Rohit Paradkar. Today I'm coming to you from the Royal Enfield dealership in Bandra, and I'm here because there is a new Himalayan in town. In fact, that's the motorcycle we have with us here today. This is the 2021 Royal Enfield Himalayan. So 2021, why I'm stressing on that is because this is the updated model. This is the new model for 2021. What you can see right away is a new color. This is the matte silver. There's also going to be a matte black, and then there's going to be a green shade available as well. 3 new colors for 2021. That is how you identify this motorcycle in a passing glance. But then let's take a look at the details on what's really changed. One of the biggest additions is the tripper module. So this tripper module is something that we saw on the Meteor 350, and now it makes way onto the Himalayan as well. When we reviewed the Meteor 350, we told you that the tripper module is going to make it to other Royal Enfield motorcycles as well. Well, this is the second motorcycle that gets it. It's integrated very nicely with that round theme. It fits in nicely, but otherwise there's no change to the instrumentation. The instrumentation otherwise remains the same as we've seen previously on the Royal Enfield. Now if I move back a little, this windscreen is what has gone taller. Again, you may not notice it in a passing glance. It's got a slightly smoked finish to it, and I think it looks quite nice, very cleanly integrated. The shape is almost similar to what we've seen previously on the Himalayan. This, however, is taller. And right underneath, if you take a look at the rack has been made shorter. So if you remember, the previous rack extended all the way to the knee recesses, and that was a complaint by the taller riders that they would hit their knee against the rack. That is why the rack has been made shorter. I'm not sure if the older accessories like the additional fuel that you could carry on the rack, I don't know if those kind of accessories are going to fit this as is. No word from Royal Enfield yet, but once I get a confirmation, I will let you know what it is all about. But as of now, this is what the new rack looks like. Now, I believe that this is feedback that has been received from the Himalayan's international audience or taller riders, where they wanted a windscreen that was taller for better wind protection, and they wanted a rack that was shorter so that it wouldn't hit their knee often. And that is what has been incorporated in the 2021 Himalayan. Next up, you also have seats, the cushioning for which has been updated for 2021. It's made a little firmer than before, and that is for long distance comfort again. And if you see the brown finish for the upholstery, well, that is customizable through the Royal Enfield Make It Yours customization program. You can choose the color you want. You can also specify this motorcycle with a touring seat if you want, and it will ship with it directly. You don't have to buy it later as an accessory. You can just have it shipped with the touring seat. So I think that's a very good addition. And in terms of touring, you also get a new rear rack. So there is a luggage rack for mounting your tail bags. It has a maximum load capacity of 7 kilos, and the height for the tail rack has been reduced again, because this was a complaint again by the pillion riders where they would hit their leg often against the tail rack while getting on and off the bike. So that has been reduced, made more ergonomic now. In terms of the engine, in terms of the chassis, no changes there. It still runs the same tune that we saw in 2020 with the BS6 update, and no changes to the chassis, no changes to the geometry, no changes to the metallurgy, if that is what you're wondering. But we were told when the BS6 transition happened that the chassis was sort of refined a little bit more, they made it more enduring to the kind of road conditions that the Himalayan goes through. So no complaints there. In fact, we'd also said that the BS6 engine is more refined now than the BS4, and I'm hoping, in fact, I'm sure that this is going to be no different. Well, I am going to be riding this motorcycle very soon. In fact, not this particular motorcycle. We have a different color motorcycle. I'm quickly going to show you that as well, so you get an update on the different color. It's a black color motorcycle that we'll be riding on Overdrive, so stay tuned to Overdrive. That review will be up very soon. That black bike is parked right there. I'm sorry if there's going to be some noise from the traffic, but yeah, that's the black bike. Some people already photographing it. I think it looks quite nice. That matte finish really stands out. You have that 01 decal. You also have some gloss black here, so that combination works really nice. And this all black layout, I think I really like it. If only they had done an option where the header pipe, the exhaust pipe was all black, that would have been perfect. You know, you could have that Himalayan which was all black, because now with this slightly smoked windshield, that black just stands out. That's the older Himalayan, the BS4, for you to get a quick comparison view. Like I said, that rack was slightly bigger. It extended all the way to the new recesses. This is the new rack for comparison. It's got different shape, different design, and a shorter form factor. And you can also maybe take a glance at how the rear rack is different. You can see it against the tree there. It's slightly taller, and compared to that, this one is almost in line with the rear seating. Well, apart from that, no big changes. This is the black color. Like I said, there's also going to be a green. The heat sink for the exhaust is also done up in black, which again makes me wish that the header pipe, the exhaust in all black option would have really looked good. I hope they add it to the accessories. I hope they allow us to have an all black option. Like I said, no changes to the instrumentation. Here's the instrumentation on the black motorcycle. There is the tripper navigation screen and the additional, the taller windscreen, so to say. So this is what the motorcycle is all about. Let me know what do you think about the 2021 Himalayan. I'm going to tell you what I think about the 2021 Himalayan when I review the motorcycle. That's the bike I'm getting a stride on. So do stay tuned to Overdrive. We'll have the review up and running very soon.
Well, that's quite a detailed first look video. Trust Rohit to give us all the details. Let's get Rohit and Bert on the show, please.
Hi guys,
Hi guys,
welcome
good
to
evening.
another weekend show for Overdrive.
Hello Sohini, hello Bert. Good to see you guys
Hey,
again.
Hi Rohit, how was your day today? You spent the entire day riding the motorcycle. Would you like to tell us a little bit about it?
Yes, so I was riding the motorcycle today. In fact, it was an early start for us. We had to wrap up the magazine shoot as well as the video shoot today, and that's exactly what we've done. We've spent time with that black motorcycle that you saw in the first look video, and that motorcycle is what we are reviewing on Overdrive, and it's been quite an eventful day. The Himalayan was updated last year as well with the BS6 transition. It made the engine much smoother, and now with all these little enhancements, there's a lot to look forward to if you've been waiting to get yourself an the Himalayan. But how much of these changes really make any difference? Because there is a premium that Royal Enfield is charging for the 2021 model. It's almost 10,000 rupees on top of last year's model. So is it really worth it? Are all these changes really going to make a world of a difference? How much of it is really effective? That's exactly what I've tried to put to test in this particular review today, taking opinions also from some other users of the Himalayan that we know. So we have quite a bit of insight on what we think about the new motorcycle, what some of the other people from the community think about the motorcycle. So definitely do stay tuned to Overdrive for the review. Our review will be out very soon. It will not be a rushed review, but it will be out very soon. So definitely do stay tuned to overdrive.in, and also, of course, our YouTube channel. That is where a detailed video review will be up as well very soon.
So, Rohit, we already have a string of questions coming in. In fact, Akshay Balal wants to know why the Himalayan comes with a choke despite of it being fuel injected.
Is Rohit's screen frozen?
Yeah, I think so.
Well, I seem to be having some trouble with my internet connection. Well, I can't really answer that. I can't really answer that. Why it still comes with a choke despite having fuel injection. But yeah, that fuel injection certainly works pretty well. I don't see a scenario where you'll have to use that choke at all. In fact, we have ridden the Himalayan up in the mountains as well, close to places where usually the carbureted models start behaving in a niffy manner. The fuel injection is quite well tuned. In fact, they've tuned it for most places within India and maybe abroad as well. So, you're not going to have any issues, and I don't think you're going to have to use that choke at all. So, I really can't tell you why it's still there. In fact, there are quite a few questions I have on motorcycle that probably don't have an answer.
So
But
I have an answer for that, Rohit. I have an answer for that, and that's also probably because, as the name suggests, a lot of people use the Himalayan for riding into high altitude regions, essentially where weather conditions could be colder, and it could lead to cold start issues. It will have no other issues, but at higher altitudes where the weather is colder through the nights, you could have an issue. So a lot of guys going up to Ladakh, that's where essentially the choke would really matter because it will make a difference and enable you to do a cold start much easier or much faster than what is required.
All right. Here's an opinion rather than a question. Apur says the Himalayan still remains to be a motorcycle he'd rather rent than own. Perfect for mountain rides, imperfect for everywhere else. What do you think, Rohit?
well, Apurv, I sort of agree and with you. I'll disagree with the last part of your statement where it's imperfect, everything else. I won't call that motorcycle imperfect. It's a very bare bones motorcycle. It's quite down to its basics kind of a motorcycle, and there's nothing wrong about it. I mean, there is a large community that would want a motorcycle like that. Of course, Bert here, a lot of other colleagues of ours, we have big adventure motorcycles, right? But at the same time, we can't ignore the fact that a lightweight basic motorcycle like the Himalayan can actually be a lot of fun. So I'll not call it imperfect. It is great for commuting in the city. It is excellent for your short jaunts, those breakfast rides that you might want to do 150, 200 kilometers. Shouldn't be a problem at all. They're very comfortable. Even long distance comfort is actually quite good on the Himalayan. I mean, if I had to pick one between this and the KTM 390 and the X Pulse, I probably would go with the Himalayan purely for the kind of comfort that the seat has to offer me. The 390 gives me a lot more electronics, a lot more power, a lot more engine, but there's something very likable about the Himalayan. But I also agree to the first part of your statement where you say that maybe I'll not own it. Maybe I'll just want to rent it when I'm going to the trickier terrain. Maybe when I'm going to the mountains, where I'm probably going to be riding a lot of off-road trails as a part of my road trips. Where I may not want something that's very heavy, like my GS or maybe my previous Tiger. I might want something that is easy, light, something that is easy to live with, something that I can pick up on my own if I drop it and I don't need help around. So that is where I would want to rent a Himalayan as well. So I agree with that part where I would just rent it instead of buying it. I may not want it as a part of my garage because I probably want something that's a little more of an all-rounder in terms of the power, in terms of electronics, in terms of seating comfort. But like I said, of the entry-level models that you have, all the way up to the, say, let's say 250 Adventure, I'll not bring the 390 into the picture right now, but up to the 250 Adventure, I think the Himalayan has a very nice balance. And that is what I would probably pick this motorcycle up for.
All right. Vivek
Also,
here has a
Rohit, I would
question.
suggest
Sorry.
just look, if I'm not mistaken, I'm not saying, but do the BS6 versions also of the Enfield have a choke on them? Now, I'm not sure. I don't recollect. I haven't seen the bike in a long time, to be honest, so I'm not sure. But if you have the motorcycle down there with you in your parking lot, then probably check and see if that has got a choke on it.
Yeah, that is an interesting observation. I will certainly, check it because I don't remember seeing one. But I'll certainly check on that motorcycle and we'll keep you posted on that.
The previous edition, the BS6 definitely had a choke on it, but I'm not sure the BS6 ones do.
All right, we have a question here from Vivek Chavan. He wants to know why has Royal Enfield not introduced LED headlights for the new Himalayan?
Well, Vivek, I think it's all down to the cost, because even this 10,000 rupee hike that the Himalayan has now got for 2021, if you see the kind of comments that we got on our first look video that we put up yesterday, most of the people are complaining about that price hike. Of course, the Himalayans had a price hike almost every year with every update. They've had a price hike. It started off at 1.55 ex showroom, if I'm not wrong, when it debuted, and today we are at 2.01 ex showroom. Chennai. So, there has been a price hike. 50,000 rupees is quite a bit of a hike in the four updates that it's got. It's got two transitions, of course, BS3 to BS4 and then BS4 to BS6, and now this updated variant. So that cost, it's a very cost sensitive segment. And that is where LEDs are probably going to be another problem in terms of the cost. It's going to be a big addition, and if it starts getting freakishly close to something like the KTM 250 Adventure, that is where the Himalayan might lose its spot. Because also remember, the Himalayan is not the best-selling motorcycle for Royal Enfield. I mean, we all know that just the way SUVs are the in thing right now, adventure bikes are the in thing, no matter what price bracket you're looking at. And yet, the Himalayan, despite being such a competitive and a competent product, it's still not the best seller for Royal Enfield. It's still the classics. It's still their 650s. It's not the Himalayan. So it is a very price sensitive segment to be in. And if they go very close to the K, people are going to choose the extra power. People are going to go with the KK, and that is why they have to make sure that each and every upgrade that they give to the Himalayan is measured and is built to a cost in a way. And that is why I think why the LED lamps have been given a miss. And that's only one of the things we are talking about. There is a lot more that I was expecting from this update, which has all been given a miss. And I think it's all coming down to the cost, that final sticker price.
All right, and Parag wants to know, is the seat comfortable? Has it become more comfortable in this new update?
Yes, Parag, it's certainly become more comfortable. So what they've done is they've changed the cushioning. It's a bit firmer now. It's a dual density foam. It's a bit firmer. And this morning I had a 170 odd kilometer journey that I did for a shoot and back, and it felt comfortable. It didn't feel like a world of difference over the outgoing Himalayan. Probably when you are doing maybe 800, 900 kilometers a day, that is where you will have that difference that could be a little bit more evident. But that firmer cushioning, as we've seen in cars and other motorcycles as well, firmer cushioning usually works by giving you better long distance comfort. And yeah, I think I would say that it is more comfortable than the outgoing Himalayan, but not by a huge margin, but it is certainly more comfortable.
All right, we'll take some other questions. Anis wants to know any update on the electric superbike from Ultraviolet?
Well, Anish, in fact, we were talking to the Ultraviolet team a little while back, earlier this year. They have begun tests again for the electric superbike, as they call it, and hopefully this year we will finally see the bike enter production, and they'll start deliveries at least for the first lot of bookings that they're taken. In fact, that's the communication that has been given to me. I'm not yet sure. The pandemic wasn't very kind to anyone, certainly not towards startups like these. But these guys seem to be relentless in terms of the testing, in terms of making sure that the product is ready. And hopefully, later this year, we'll have a closer look at the final production spec motorcycle.
Rohit, there's one more on the Himalayan. Any improvement in the brakes of the 2020 Himalayan?
That's exactly what I was saying, right? I mean, I was expecting a lot more improvements, a lot more updates on the Himalayan. But again, it's not an all motorcycle. It's still the same platform, so there's only so much we can expect out of it. But the brakes, that could have certainly been addressed. That is one issue. That is one topic that we've always complained about. The brakes are very spongy. That works extremely well off the road because it's not too bitey. It gives you a little bit more confidence when you're riding off the road. But you're not going to be off the road all the time with the Himalayan. There are a lot of people who are purely buying the Himalayan for commuting. There are a lot of people who are buying the Himalayan purely for road touring. and there those spongy brakes, they become cumbersome. They need a lot of effort. They need a lot of cladding. Sudden braking is not very confidence inspiring. So I really, really hope that they did something better. But then again, this has been a weak point for Royal Enfields. Even with the Meteor 350, which is a newer platform, we've seen that the braking has been very spongy. So, in terms of brakes, Royal Enfield is still not able to get that perfect balance, that perfect feel that you would want at the lever, and in terms of confidence, that kind of bite that you want. They're still not able to get those mathematics right, and that shows in old products like the Himalayan and even with no products like the Meteor. So yeah, I'm with you on this. They should have done something about the brakes, but unfortunately they haven't.
But here's a question from Omkar. He wants an update on two cars, the XUV 300 Sports Turbo and the Maruti Celerio. Any launch timelines known for these?
Omkar, unfortunately for the Maruti Celerio, nothing as of now. There are no updates for that car and when it will come again or when the next generation of it will come out again. The XUV 300 Sport again, now what we're anticipating is an all-new XUV 300 which will come of course successively. There is the XUV 500, it's in the pipeline, and of course the Scorpio as well, and then we will see a few more updates to the XUV 300 or if not for an all-new variant. So I think that's probably towards the end of the year, nothing before that where XUV is concerned. The Celerio, as of now, there is nothing that is coming up from Maruti, at least on that front.
All right. Yash wants to know, will the Citroën rule the market next, or will its sales be like the Tucson and the T-Roc?
Yash, well, yes, Citroen, I wouldn't say it's going to rule the market, but I do believe they have the potential to do well. I'm not going to tell you how the product is at this point in time because it's under embargo. 15th, you can read the story. I've got that ready for you guys and it will be online on the website at overdrive.in. But what I can tell you is that Citroen is manufacturing the car over here. So, which means the price band that it will come in should be a lot more affordable than most of the other cars that have been offered from Hyundai or from Volkswagen or Skoda, simply because those are CBUs, so they attract higher duties and therefore they are more expensive. I believe that Citroen will be able to price it very competitively. Let's see. The launch is not too far away. It's just it's just a few weeks away for that matter. So let's just wait for it to come out of the market, let the price announcement happen, and then we'll see what the reaction is from the market as well, whether people like it or not. I believe they have the potential to do that, to price it right, and to be in a lot more in a much more competitive space for that matter than where the Tucson or the Karoq or even the Taigun are at this point in time.
All right. But a question here from Utkarsh. MG Gloucester, is it better than the Fortuner?
Utkarsh, we've recently done a comparison story between all these three SUVs, the Gloucester, the Fortuner, and the Endeavour. That was the Endeavour Black Edition, and that comparison is up on our YouTube channel as well. I will post a link for that so you can watch that story and get the response. But in a nutshell, no, the Fortuner is definitely better than the Gloucester, but here's also why. So take a look at that story.
All right. And Manoj wants to know the Hector Plus 7-seater. What do you think of it?
It's good value for money because there aren't too many 7-seaters at that price in that bracket, and it's comfortable, it's spacious, there is enough of room. Not for large adults in the third row, of course, but definitely for kids. So you can put adults in the first 2 rows, and then kids can go on the last bench. But it works. It works well. Ingress egress is a little bit of an issue, but it's not something for that children would really get affected by in that sense. Older people, yes. People who've got joint problems and things, they're getting access and ingress and egress is a little bit of a challenge for the third row of the Hector Plus, but otherwise it's a perfectly good car. It works just as well. It's the same thing as the standard Hector for that matter, with just the additional row of seats. So it works just as well as the Hector.
All right. Rohit Agarwal has asked, Ravi Agarwal has asked us 2 questions. He wants to know how is the new Skoda Superb L and K variant. He also wants to know between the E-Class and the 5 Series, which one is better?
Well, Ravi, we recently reviewed the Superb Sport line, and that review is already up on Overdrive. Remember that the Superb is at the end of its life cycle right now. This particular generation of the Superb. And despite that, it still remains, one of the best cars you can buy in that particular price bracket. It can still get the likes of, the entry level. Let's not say entry level because they are smaller. The entry level luxury compacts, they are of course smaller than the Superb, but even a segment higher, the proper business sedans from the big German brands, the Superb can give them a run for money even today, because most of these brands are, still pricing in terms of the kind of features that they bring to the table, the kind of safety tech that they bring to the table. Radar guided tech is still not, it's not very feasible for the Indian market. So when you take out all these advancements, that really set these cars apart, when you take off all these advancements, then it's purely down to the basic features that you want in a car like this, and of course the space and the ambience and the feel and the drivability. And in that, the Superb, even today, even though it's at the end of its life cycle, is an excellent product. Now, between the Sportline and the LNK, there's not much of a difference in terms of the way it drives, not much of a difference in terms of the kind of space it's going to offer you. A few features here and there, of course, upholstery options and the way it looks. There are a few things here and there. The Sportline looks sportier. The LNK is more luxury oriented and it gives you a bit more chrome and beige interiors and all that. So it's all down to your personal preference. It's an excellent product, and because it's at the end of its life cycle, it's also available at a very good price. And you might even end up getting good discounts for it because we expect the new Superb to come out later this year. And that is certainly going to be a more expensive product. It's going to be pricier than the current car. So this year would be a very good year to buy the Superb if you are looking for it. Now, if you were to move higher up the order and coming to the next question that you have between the E-Class and the 5 Series, if I were to just give you a short answer to that, if you're going to be driven most of the time, it's the E-Class that you want. But if you're going to spend equal amount of time behind the wheel as well, is the 5 Series that I would like you to choose because it is a proper driver's car. It's got excellent space at the back as well. So whether you're going to be driven around or going to be driving the car yourself, the 5 Series has a lot more scope in that sense. Not that the E-Class is it's not that way to drive. It is an excellent car. It's a long wheelbase version that they sell in India. So directly, it's also going to be as good as the 5 Series. So if you enjoy driving, if you're going to be behind the wheel often, then it's the 5 Series that I would like to choose. But if it's going to be purely the rear seat comfort that you're looking at, is the E-Class. And again, in terms of value, resale value, the E-Class commands a much higher resale value as compared to the 5 Series in the Indian market. So if that matters to you, again, is the E-Class for you. So I hope I've answered your query, and I hope you will be able to sort of make an informed decision depending on the criteria that you want to choose either of these vehicles.
Bert, we are back to a question about the MG Gloucester. Would you prefer it over the X1?
Would I prefer the MG Gloucester over the X1? Yes, I think I would, principally because of the space and the feature that the Gloucester offers. You're looking at an X1, which is a bare basic SUV. It's not even an SUV; it's a crossover. More of a, I'd say a bumped up hatchback for that matter, not even an SUV or a proper crossover for that matter. But the Gloucester is a full size SUV. You get a proper 4x4 powertrain, which you can select two-wheel drive or four-wheel drive, and a variety of other driving modes and things like that. You get a whole host of features that you just don't get in the X1. For instance, you get heated seats, which works brilliantly. I just drove the car, the Gloucester, to Shimla. It was pretty cold at nights. It goes down below zero right now. And when you when you woke up in the morning and get out to drive, it was fantastic. Just switch on the heated seats and then head out because it just feels that much more comfortable. So in that sense, the Gloucester, there's a lot more value that you can get out of that SUV. But and there's a big but over here. How reliable is it in the long run? I am not entirely sure. It's a new product. It's just come out of the market recently. I'm not entirely convinced about the reliability of the Gloucester, and maybe the X1 would be a little more reliable to own. Now, the only other value that you get with the BMW X1 is the BMW badge value that is there, and I mean that badge carries a lot of weight, and having a BMW X1 just because it's a BMW might show you in a different light to most other people if that's the kind of thing that you're looking for. But if you want the most sensible, practical choice, then the Gloucester is should be what you would go in for. You'd enjoy it. It's comfortable. It's great to drive. It's got good safety features, including that ADAS system. So I think it's well equipped that way and makes a lot more sense.
All right, here's an interesting question from Apurv. He wants to know if a car is used sparingly, say 2,000 kilometers a year, does it really need an oil change? Is time-based service schedule a way to keep dealership revenues going?
Apurva, if a car is going to be used only for 2,000 kilometers in a year, you'd rather use the bus or train or rickshaw or an Ola or Uber for that matter. I don't know why you're keeping a car and what is the big emergency, because you can really get an Ola and Uber at the drop of a hat. So just it's easier to get a phone and an app on install on it where you can get a taxi at your beck and call rather than having to own a car if you just want to use it 2,000 kilometers a year. I don't know. I don't understand what's the need of having a car if you're going to use it just for 2,000 kilometers a year. That's less than 200 kilometers in a month. This doesn't make sense.
All right, here's one from Sachi Bhatt. Why are Japanese, particularly Toyota cars, so reliable and yet cheaper to maintain? Doesn't quality
Usually cost more
doesn't
money.
quality stuff
So I
usually
think
cost
in
more
the
money?
case, I wouldn't entirely say that Japanese cars are extremely reliable. Japanese cars also have their reliability issues. Don't forget, Toyota had one of the biggest recalls in the history of the automotive industry with the Takata airbags issue. That's one. We've also had several recalls from Toyota or Honda in India also. So reliability, I would say they are extremely reliable. At least they're not more reliable than the Germans or anything of that sort. Each of them has their own issues, and that's also because a lot of child parts, for instance, come from various vendors here and there, and design parameters and testing parameters, and all of these will matter. It matters. It's not that Toyota has complete control. While they still design it and ask, give out that to a vendor to manufacture, these issues definitely crop up. But it's something that we have to live with. These are mechanical bits at the end of the day, and things can fail, things can work, things can go wrong. Whether it's because of the environment or the conditions we drive in, or the kind of usage that we put our cars through, the way we drive and use our vehicles for that matter. So it's not that Japanese cars are bulletproof. However, there are exceptions to the cause. Toyota has had and rather enjoyed a lot of its credibility in India has been built on the reliability of its products, whether it's the Fortuner, whether it is the Innova, whether it was the Polish before that, whether it is even the Corolla or the Camry. Most of the cars that it has had have been phenomenal in terms of reliability. It has had issues. They've had issues, but not to discount the fact that some of the cars like the Innova and the Fortuner have been literally bulletproof. Uh, some of the other cars, Camry has had fuel pump issues. They've had recalls for that, and so they've been these concerns have always been there on and off. Doesn't quality usually mean more money? Yes, it definitely means more money. You can see where the Innova is priced at today. You can see where the Fortuner also is priced at today. They're not exactly affordable products as such. They definitely cost a lot of money, but that also means that you definitely get better quality at that price.
All right, let's just hit the pause button with all the questions for a bit. Looks like Rohit has joined us from the outdoors, and before he loses light, Rohit, I think you can take over and let us know what happened in the world of auto in terms of motorcycles.
Let's talk about the Yamaha FZ. Red seems to be the color of the week. But the FZ is also launched with a new shade of red. There's a BS6 FZ that is out now. It's been updated. We were waiting for it for quite some time. Even the website said that it's coming soon. A lot of you asked us when the new FZ is coming, and it's finally here. Uh, this week. There is the updated FZS as well. It gets that new color shade. Like I said, it's also lost a bit of weight. It's about 2 kilos lighter than before. And I also hear that Yamaha has made some changes to the exhaust system to make the engine note a bit more sporty. Now, I don't know how well that's worked. We are still waiting for the review unit to come out. And hopefully, we will have the review unit sometime later this month. And once we do, we will. Let you know if the exhaust note has really changed and if it's really that sporty. But we are all for a good sounding engine on a motorcycle, and we are really hoping to look forward to something nice. So the bike has been launched at a price of 1.03 lakh, whereas the FZS is 1.07 lakh at showroom. We will certainly review these products as well. We'll also put them through our performance testing to see if the performance gain has happened because a 2 kilo weight should ideally point towards better performance overall as well. And that is something that we will be verifying very soon. So stay tuned. We will have the review up on Overdrive maybe later this month once we have our hands on the motorcycle. Can we have the next bit of news as well?
Have we lost Rohit or is he still on?
No, I seem to be having some internet issue. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we
Yeah, we
can.
can
Yes, we
hear
can.
you.
Go
We
on.
Oh,
can
great. Okay, I'm sorry.
play the
The
visuals
screen just
again.
froze up. Okay. Right. So the next bit of news is the Triumph Tiger 850 Sport that we were talking about a little while back. It's finally been launched. 9th of February is when Triumph launched the motorcycle in India. The bike hasn't reached the dealerships yet. That will happen maybe 10 days from now, is what we're told. But the motorcycle is out on sale. Like I said, the base variant of the Tiger 900 never came to the Indian market because they had to make space for this. The 850 Sport, it's marginally lesser on the power, but it's the same 8cc engine as a Tiger 900. It also gets a smaller screen, a 5-inch TFT, instead of the bigger screen that you get on the 900s. But if you've been waiting to get your first middleweight adventure tourer, I think this is going to be an excellent proposition if you're not really looking at doing a lot of off-road trails. If you want to stick to the tarmac and you want a nice able tourer that sounds great, that performs very well, that's got a punchy engine, and that behaves like a typical proper adventure motorcycle, I think the Tiger 850 could make a lot of sense. And that's because it's coming from a very capable platform, which is the Tiger 900. We are waiting to ride this motorcycle, of course, but I mean, it's a no-brainer. For the kind of price it's come out at and with the kind of equipment that it has, I think it's going to be an excellent value for money offering. Triumph has also brought in a lot of accessories for the Tiger 850 to the Indian market. So in terms of touring, in terms of putting that luggage, putting those panniers, all of that is going to be very easy because all of that is also available at the Triumph dealership itself. And then there is a range of aftermarket accessories that will be available for this because this is again the same Tiger 900 platform. So there's already a lot that's available in the market. So if you've been waiting to get yourself that middleweight tourer and you're not able to stretch to something like the Tiger 900 GT, I think the 850 is going to be an excellent proposition, especially given that the 650s from Kawasaki and Suzuki are now almost close to the 10 lakh rupee mark. Of course, the Tiger 850 is going to be a bit of a stretch over that, but I think this will be the more wholesome product that you should stretch to because it gives you a bigger engine, it gives you a bigger motorcycle, it gives you a more capable motorcycle, so to say. Arguably, of course, but I think the 850 is an excellent product and it's now available in India.
So
So I
is
think
it
that
a
wraps up the
motorcycle
two-wheeler
that
news.
you yes, is it a motorcycle that you guys are planning to buy next? In fact, what
No bullshit. I want to go out. I want to take a gun and shoot Triumph, man. I want to put. Yeah, I mean, seriously, Triumph Tiger 850, the Tiger 850 at 11 lakh rupees. That's just ridiculous. I mean, that's not even. That's I bought my Tiger 850 XCA for bloody 13 and a half second hand. Okay. Now the prices are gone to for a brand new 850 is bloody 11 lakh rupees. So my motorcycle is literally worth nothing. So if I want to upgrade it to something else, also there's no chance in hell that anyone's going to pay me any kind of money for my motorcycle at this point. More at this moment. So the market has literally dropped down from under the old 850s for the 800s for that matter. So uh, yeah, man, I hate to drive. It's just ridiculous. I understand it's great pricing, but who the hell is going to buy? I mean, you want your older customers. There are not a lot of new customers coming to this fold. You want your older customers to upgrade their motorcycle. But they can only do that when they are able to sell their existing motorcycles, and I can't sell my existing motorcycle any longer to go and upgrade to a newer motorcycle. So there, I mean, go to hell.
but this is why stick to
Bird,
cars.
GS,
Yeah,
GS, Bird, GS.
the road is bumpy out there. I'm sure.
Right, but Dodo wants to know what is the opinion of the
Yeah,
new Tiger
Dodo
versus.
thinks north of Overdrive because he called me old man. Old man Bird is heading on a ride to Goa in the coming week. Dodo Samuel on the old 850 X, the old 800 XCA, the old Tiger XCA. So yeah, there you go.
Rohit, there's a
No, but
question.
genuinely, I think just to quickly answer what Dodo just asked, I think not everyone wants to take their Tigers to the off-road trails. I mean, the XCA that both has is very well equipped to do all of that. But maybe not every rider is equipped to do all of that, even if the machine is able to do it, and not everyone wants to do it either. Some just want to stick to the tarmac. They just want a good touring machine that's reliable, punchy, powerful, and I think the Tiger 850 slots into that requirement very nicely, and which is the reason why I think the Tiger 850 is really going to sell well. And despite Bert's rant, yes, 11.5 lakh rupees ex showroom, it's still going to be quite a bit. It's going to be almost 14.5 lakh rupees is what the showrooms are telling me. That's on road Mumbai. So it's still not a very cheap motorcycle, so to say. It's not a very economical motorcycle, so to say. Like I said, the 650s from Kawasaki and Suzuki are around the 10 lakh rupee mark right now. So you're still stretching by about 4 lakh rupees. You could buy a Himalayan or a 390 Adventure as well and expand your garage that way. But yeah, I mean, if you want to upgrade and if you want to, switch to the 850, I think it's going to be an excellent product. But yeah, I mean, I still love the old Tiger 800, and that XCA that Bert has is an excellent product. The real competitor to that, or the real upgrade to that, is the Rally Pro. But that's going to set you back by a huge margin, because the Rally Pro at the moment is anywhere between 18 to 20 lakh rupees, depending on which city you're buying the motorcycle in. So, there's still a big price gap, and that 850 Sport is still a very value for money offering, all things considered.
Hold on,
And
but
don't forget, I've got a set of brand new Metzler Karu 3s, okay? These are all
he's
alternate
ready.
patterns. So, yeah,
He's ready
hang
to buy
on.
a
So
motorcycle,
this is
but
ready to go to the also now. So I was waiting for the season to start off, and I'll be riding over there again. So you want to join us on that ride, my friend? Get yourself a motorcycle now. That will keep up, because you're not riding my HCA any longer.
he's ready to buy your motorcycle, but we have it on video right now. We have it live, so you
Oh,
can hold it.
he's ready to buy my Tiger for more than 11 lakh rupees. No way, I don't think so. I don't believe so. But let's move on. Let's move on. There are a few more questions that are very interesting that I actually wanted to take. I noticed these over here, guys. Doro Samuel, again, you have a question, which is, why isn't Toyota marketing aggressively the urban cruiser and the Glanza Baleno? Again, a lot of manufacturers aren't marketing some of their products very, very aggressively. They're just holding on to whatever stocks they have, because there are supply chain issues right now with a lot of semiconductors and other parts not coming in because of the lockdowns, the pandemic situation in various markets, and the way various markets are positioned right now. So there are a few issues with this, and that's one of the reasons I believe that some of the manufacturers aren't pushing the products out very, very strongly until things stabilize, until everybody is back to 100%. We won't see. There will be some of these supply chain issues, and that's not marketing the products very well. Having said that, it's not that the Glanza or the Urban Cruiser are doing badly. They're doing pretty reasonable numbers for that matter. The Baleno, or rather the Glanza, at least we know, is doing fairly well, and the Urban Cruiser also is slowly picking up. But again, supply chain issues are going a bit slow on some products. Again, one more
There's
question
also
on the
Prajwal
same.
as well. No, sorry, with no, Nitin Joshua also wants to know, why are Japanese auto companies not offering turbo petrol engines?
Well, Japanese companies do offer turbo petrol engines. We had the Baleno with the turbo petrol. It's not a requirement for the Indian markets or for the Asian markets for that matter at this point in time, because most of their engines, current lot of engines, are already meeting whatever standard requirements are there. A lot of the Europeans are pushing.
Okay, we seem to be having network issues with Bert. Rohit, would you like to answer that question?
Sorry, okay, I'm back. I'm back again. So
Right.
yeah, but right, sorry. So that's not the only reason. And the Japanese manufacturers, again, there aren't too many right now in this market who are who are pushing small car agendas through. So as and when these portfolios expand, keep in mind Toyota does not have a strong small car at this point in time, or at least not something that they've got themselves. They're right now banking on Maruti Suzuki for the Baleno, and of course some other products that will come out in the future. And same with Honda as well. They don't really have a small car as of now in this market, but in the future they will definitely venture down to turbo petrols as and when the need and the requirement arises.
Also, Bert, Mridul wants to know, are Maruti cars as unsafe as they are made out to be in many YouTube videos? He's worried because he owns a Baleno.
Well, unfortunately, that's a ridiculous statement a lot of guys are making, and everyone's kind of jumping onto this bandwagon because Tata Motors and Mahindra jumped up saying, we've got the safest cars in India. Admittedly, yes, they definitely have the safest cars in India. That does not mean that the other manufacturers have got unsafe cars. They meet all the safety requirements that are needed in Indian conditions, and more also for that matter. I mean, your Baleno has got proper airbags, it's got a crash safety cell, it's got everything you would require to keep you safe in the eventuality of a crash, if that, God forbid, that happens. But you will stay safe to an extent. I'm not saying that the rear seat passengers will have more safety or better safety or whatever it is, but yes, in the case of Tata Motors products and the case of Mahindra's products, you will be safer inside them. In that case, that is, if you're able to reach any appreciable speeds in those cars, which is a question mark again. But let's not go there as to what you can and can't do in those kind of cars, for that matter. But yeah, are Maruti cars unsafe? No, they're not unsafe. And unfortunately, everybody's kind of jumping on this entire bandwagon, where the rest of the manufacturers will be called out for not having the safest cars under global NCAP ratings and all of that kind of thing. There's a larger picture to be seen over here, and there are larger repercussions and implications to this as well. So let's not go by that. Most of the manufacturers adhere and provide whatever is required by Indian safety standards and Indian norms for that matter. So I think your cars are perfectly fine. We would like a lot more safety, but again, it's a question mark on whether you are able to afford that kind of safety. I've said this in the past as well. If you can afford to pay for that kind of safety, then absolutely go in for it. We definitely see a lot more people buying Mercedes-Benz cars and BMWs and Audis and Volvos for that matter, but they aren't. So let's not get into that argument about who's more safer and who isn't unsafe, because yes, some of these safety technologies definitely cost a bit more.
All right, here's a question for both of you. With you guys being owners of big motorcycles, if you didn't have money you have now, would you guys have still gone for the big purchases or smaller purchase like a car? Is it worth it to own a big bike for a lifetime?
Well, I've always dreamt of owning a big motorcycle. I never did for the longest time possible. I owned the first motorcycle I properly owned was a Royal Enfield Bullet Classic, and not a classic, that was a standard deluxe. And eventually, once I joined Overdrive, I had to sell that motorcycle because I was never using it. It just felt unfair to have a motorcycle that I wasn't able to use because I was riding so many other motorcycles as part of the job. Eventually, it came down to a point where these motorcycles were available in India, and of course, I also had the money to own one of these, and that's where I bought the Tiger XC. I got a great deal on it. It's a very interesting story for another day for me to share with you guys, not today. But Ducati lost out when I was going to buy a motorcycle from them, and of course, Triumph won, and just for purely ridiculous reasons that Ducati kind of lost out on the sale. I wasn't really looking for a ADV motorcycle. I was looking for something a little different, which Ducati had, and Ducati couldn't really, work that deal out. When just 2 weeks after I purchased my Tiger, they came back to me saying, "Oh yeah, okay, fine, everything good and done and whatever." They were just late to that. But anyway. Having said that, so that was where I bought the big motorcycle. I'm hoping to ride a little bit more of it this year than I have had the time and occasion to do in the past. And hopefully I should be able to put a few more miles on it in 2021. Is it worth owning a big bike for a lifetime? Absolutely.
Rohit?
I mean, I completely echo what Bert just said. The same way Bert said it. I don't need to buy a car because I'm always testing some car or the other. So I don't have that kind of parking space. I don't need to own a car, and which is why I decided to divert my funds and my focus to big motorcycles instead. And it's these motorcycles that give me more joy. So it's all down to what makes you happy. It's a goal that you set for yourself, like many other things in life, and you have to achieve it. It's not about whether you have the big money, no, don't have the big money. It's all about prioritizing what you want, setting that goal, and then working towards achieving it. I mean, I have been in a situation where I kid you not, I was, and I'm not exaggerating either, I was having one meal a day just so that I could fund that big motorcycle dream of mine. So it's all down to how you prioritize things and what you really
Wow,
want
that's
and how badly you want it.
solid commitment.
Yes, absolutely. How do you think I've been losing weight? So, so yeah, I mean, it's all down to how you prioritize things and what you really want. Yeah. So, is it worth it?
Frodo Samuel has been
Uh,
slinging on our YouTube channel. So he's for sure going to get blocked.
Right.
I can't
Rohit,
hear you,
here's
buddy.
another question.
Let's go on. Let's go on. We're running short on time. Oh, sorry, you had
Rohit,
one more question.
here's another question for you. Is the Gixxer SF 250 a good upgrade from the Gixxer 155?
Sorry, the screen is frozen for me. Could you repeat that question, Sohini?
Is
Which
the
two vehicles are you talking about?
Gixxer SF 250, is it a better upgrade from the Gixxer 155?
Well, I think if you already own a 155, I would recommend that you upgrade to something a little bit bigger. The 250 is certainly a nice motorcycle, but from the 155 to the 250, it's not going to be a big performance jump for you. So in terms of the feel, in terms of because it's technically from the same manufacturer, the look and feel of the motorcycle is very same. So it's not going to be a big jump for you. So I'm not sure if you should move from a 155 to a 250. I would say go for something bigger. Maybe look at something like the KTM 390s. Look at something in that zone. You will at least feel that there's a bump in power. The overall riding feel is different, and that way it will be a more enriching experience, is what I feel. But if you've set your heart on the 250, is it a good upgrade? Yes, of course. I mean, everything that you like the 155 for, the 250 does all of that a little bit better. So if you like the 155, go ahead and get yourself the 250.
All right. I
There are a
think
couple of questions, Sony, that I want to take. One is again, Ajay Sarkar on Facebook has been asking us what's the views on the 2021 Safari, and Rohit, you've driven it. I've also driven it, and it's a good car. I think there are some good improvements on the Safari compared to the Harrier, for that matter. Again, like I said this last time, also I do not know why the name change had happened and all that stuff, but yes, it's a good product overall. Comfortable to drive, has got it's a nice interior, nice cabin, comfortable in that sense. I don't know why the white shade is there in that interior, because it's going to get messed up no end, and you're going to have that's one of the pain points of most owners, is going to be having to keep that interior clean, spotless, and looking as white probably a week after they purchase it. Uh, that's my opinion. The 2020 on Safari. There's another question that's coming in. That's coming from Mahendra Kumar Oswal. Hyundai i20 or Venue versus Venue Creta. Again, Mahendra Kumar, you're looking at very different segments of vehicles. You're looking at a hatchback and compact SUV compared to a premium SUV. All three of them sit at different price points. All three of them fit different purposes. If you're looking for a lot of space and practicality, then the Creta is the one that you should go in for. If space or other largest of a vehicle is an issue, and you live in a larger city like Bombay, a Venue makes a little more sense. But if you do not need an SUV at all, you don't want the high ground clearance, you want a fun to drive car, then the i20 is the choice that you would go in for.
all right, but I think we should let Rohit carry on, because I don't think we'll be able to see him or hear him in a bit.
All right.
Thank you, Rohit. Thank you for joining us today.
Yeah, thank you so much. I'm sorry, there is no electricity in Pune. So unfortunately, that's the reason why I was outdoor, and now there's no light at all. I'm so sorry. I'll have to log out. There are places in India that still exist where there is load shedding, and Pune is
I
one of
heard
them.
about
Sorry, but I can't hear you. I still can't hear you clearly.
next, the Hyundai Kona, which will be sitting in a Kona somewhere when there's no electricity in Pune.
Well, it's just a 4-hour load shedding, but it's just a 4-hour load shedding. It usually doesn't happen at night, so people can charge their Konas. But interesting fact, today I made this journey from
Don't
Yeah,
forget
I'm
diesel
sure there are people who
generator.
must be using these generators. But interesting thing is, I drove from Mumbai to Pune today, and I was surprised to see the number of Konas and MGs, ZS and Nexons. I think I must have together spotted at least 15 of those on the expressway. And this is not inside
I
city.
think all
We are
the
talking about the
bloggers and
expressway.
YouTubers, some of the other magazines and publications running various comparison tests after in this month on the cars available. So probably that you're seeing.
Possible, but seeing 15 EVs in one road trip between Bombay and Pune, it was really a good sight.
There are
I'm
quite a
glad
few
people
now.
are accepting these cars.
That's a good sign of things to come. It is a good sign of things to come. But let's move on to the news, because you got something interesting in the EV space as well coming up in the car news feed. Go for
Yeah.
it, Tony.
All right. So we'll
Right.
start
And
off with.
yeah, I'm going to take
Sorry.
your leave. You guys can continue with the news. I'm going to take your leave. Thank you so much,
All
guys.
Yep.
right.
Right. Let's try and
Thanks,
bring a
Rohit.
candle to the party.
I will. Bye bye.
All right. So we'll carry on with the car news. MG Motor India has had a very busy week with two launches. India's first internet inside car, MG Hector, has added one more automatic variant to its gearbox options alongside the DCT. You now get a 8-speed CVT starting at 16.52 lakh rupees for the base 5-seater model, going up to 18.89 lakh rupees for the top 6-seater Hector Plus variant. This 8-step unit gets 2 driving modes, Eco and Sport, and MG says this gearbox is more fuel efficient than the DCT option. Well, this model gets minor cosmetic changes on the exterior. The cabin is now brighter thanks to a dual-tone black and beige upholstery. It also gets ventilated seats, wireless phone charger, and auto-dimming IRVMs. Let's not forget the SUV can also read up to 31 English commands. In other news, MG has also launched the updated ZS EV starting at 20.99 lakh rupees and will be available across 31 cities in India. The revised 44.5 kilowatt per hour battery pack is equipped to better handle the Indian temperature and weather changes, leading to an improvement in driving range. ARAI certified range of 419 kilometers against the 340 kilometers the previous model used to get. The SUV now has an increased ground clearance of 177 millimeters, and the iSmart app now features a gamified CO2 saving counter via the Eco Tree Challenge. This electric SUV is being offered with the MG Shield suite of after-sales service that includes 5 years unlimited kilometer warranty, 8-year warranty on the battery pack, 5-year 24-hour roadside assistance, and 5 labor-free services. But I'll toss it over to you for the next news bit.
Well, guys, the next news is big, of course, because this is Audi's flagship sedan in the EV space. The first time they've got an electric sedan. This is the e-tron GT, and of course, there's a sportier variant to this, which is the RS version that you're seeing the images of right here. Now, keep in mind, this was just announced recently and will go on sale very shortly in Europe, and there have been a lot of questions coming our way whether Audi will bring this down to India. Yes, absolutely, Audi will bring this down to India. They're of course going to have the e-tron SUV launch coming up very shortly in in the span of a few weeks, for that matter, and immediately, or not immediately, but I guess sometime later, also the e-tron GT would would certainly make an appearance in our market. Now, it's a radical design, radical looking car, and also because it carries on a few of the elements that you've seen some of the previous generation cars, sports cars, sports coupes, and supercars of theirs as well. Especially that front end that we've got, that nice wide flange around the grille. That's one of the elements that's really standing out on the e-tron GT, for that matter. Also, the performance is astounding. That RS version 0 to 100 in about 3.3 seconds. And there was a very interesting video that came up earlier today. In fact, that Nico Rosberg posted. You can definitely go on to his YouTube channel also and check this out, where he dragged the e-tron GT RS against the Audi Formula E stuff. And then the results, watch it. It's a great video. It's fun to watch and see how how quick that sports sedan is. But big question over here, I think we had this question coming up earlier also at the beginning of the show today. This was a question asked by Anish Thomas. Anish, thank you for waiting for this long. If you were there all this while, thanks for being there with us and for waiting. Will the Audi RS e-tron GT be as good as the Tesla Model S? And more importantly, will they come to India? Like I said, the e-tron GT will definitely come to India at some point in time. It will, maybe not immediately. May take a year, 2 years, couple of years. Keep in mind, it's taken Audi quite some time, about a year, a little over a year, to get the SUV down first. And maybe in some time, maybe sooner than we know, they might get the GT as well over here. But is it better than the Tesla? I'm not entirely sure. I haven't myself driven the Tesla Model S. So I'm not sure what it will be like, but going by the sheer numbers, or rather these the specifications and details, factual figures, I think the Model S would be a little quicker, a little more agile. I would say agile, but just quicker than the e-tron GT. But keep in mind, the e-tron GT again is it carries forward Audi's four-wheel drive legacy. That's the Quattro technology. So all four wheels are powered, all four wheels are driven. There's two electric motors, one powering each the front and the rear axle as well. So in that sense, you're still getting better dynamics. You will definitely get better dynamics. You get better stability. It should be quicker in a corner, at least where there are corners. The e-tron GT should definitely be much faster, much more agile, much more stable and dynamic than the Tesla Model S. But again, let's see. This is all conjecture. We never know until Tesla launches. Of course, they're coming out of the Model 3, but at some point, I'm assuming they'll also come with the Model S, and there will be a comparison done someday on Overdrive between these two cars as well.
Anish is still here actually, so thank you so much for being patient and getting your question answered by Bert on the show. But we have a question from Cars and Whatnot. He wants to know, does the e-tron GT get dual screen infotainment like the A8?
I had Cars and Whatnot. I'm not entirely certain. I'll have to go back to check that out and come back to you on this. And I will post a message out for you if you follow me on as well, and I will definitely respond to you on this. I haven't had the time to go through the entire press release and see what all it has to offer. There is a detailed press release, and it's most of these German manufacturers, usually these run into several pages long, and going through them takes a fair amount of time, including checking out the images and the video cars and whatnot.
Yeah, but you can also check out the Overdrive website. We have a detailed story up for you as well.
Check our story out on the website, and we'll have those details for you there also.
Right. But Nitin has a question. Does the RS e-tron make sense when it's when the Porsche Taycan is already present? Have we lost Bert? Is this connection? Nitin, we'll come back to that question once Bert joins us once again. Just to wrap up the news from this week, the National Highway Authority of India has removed the mandatory minimum balance requirement for FASTag operation. Just remember, FASTag payments are set to become mandatory at all toll plazas from Monday, which is 15th of February. So you might want to top up your account for a hassle-free journey. However hassle-free it is possible in India nowadays, especially. Moving on, just before we take a couple of more questions and before we wrap up the show, let's just take a look at what's on the television show tomorrow. Here's a quick teaser of what you can expect. Can we play the teaser, please? Okay, we seem to be having some technical issues, but we seem to have had Bert. Yes, Bert is back.
All right, sorry guys, back again. What was I saying?
We were
so
answering...
yeah, Joshua, I think, can I take
Yes.
Joshua's question and come back to the news bit, Sony? Does Audi RS e-tron make much sense when its stablemate Porsche Taycan is present? Yes, absolutely. I don't see why not. I mean, let's keep in mind that under the Volkswagen umbrella, there are several cars, several platforms that are shared between various manufacturers, and each of them brings their own sensibilities to what the product should be like. So yes, it absolutely makes sense for the e-tron GT to exist, the e-tron GT RS to exist just as much as it makes sense for the Porsche Taycan to exist as well. Both of them have got different sensibilities. Both of them bring different, characteristics to the table as well. There are people who are familiar with what Audi has offers in their cars, and Audi will continue doing that in their EV range as well. And there are people who are familiar with what the Taycan, what Porsche offers in their cars, and who are looking for that as well. Keep in mind, again, there's a price differential also over here. Porsche positions itself at a more premium price level, and the Taycan will cost more than what I'm assuming the e-tron GT or the e-tron GT RS would cost. So yes, there is a market for both of these. Both can coexist and both can live happily ever after.
All right, but do we have time to take a few more questions?
If you can hear me right now, if you can just drop me a message on Twitter, I will respond to you. I will come back to you with these details over there as well.
All right, and Nitin had one more question actually. He is confused why MG has 2 petrol automatic options for the Hector but none for the diesel.
Sorry, I didn't catch the question again. Confused why MG is having two petrol automatic options for Hector but none for the diesel. Again, there's a lot more demand for petrol automatics at this point in time, Nathan, and that's the only reason why manufacturers are offering more options in automatics, petrol automatics for that matter, compared to the diesels. There's no other reason for that.
Cars and whatnot also wants to know, will the e-tron GT be faster than the Taycan?
Uh, I actually haven't checked that out, cars and whatnot. I'll have to go back to the spec and see what it is like, but I'm sure that will be available everywhere. Let me put that out for you as well. Let me very quickly go and go to the Porsche website and see what the Porsche Taycan specs are like. Uh, 0 to 100.
Meanwhile, I'm going to remind everyone that Bert has driven this car. You can check out that story on Audi Mag as well on our YouTube channel. I think 2 years
The
ago.
Taycan Turbo S is slower considerably. It just does it in about 5.4 seconds. That's the official word from Porsche. So yes, the GT RS, the e-tron GT RS is quicker. 3.3 seconds to 100 makes it a lot quicker than the Taycan.
All right. But we'll end the show with one last question.
Turbo S with launch control is 2.8 seconds. My bad, cars and whatnot. My bad. The Taycan Turbo S is 2.8 seconds, so it makes it quicker than the e-tron GT RS.
All right.
This
But
is good launch control. Yeah, go ahead.
let's end the show with one last question. Vikash says he's confused between the E-Class and the Audi A6.
Because actually, there's not much confusion. If you're looking for backseat comfort, if you're looking for fantastic legroom and luxury, then the E-Class is your choice if you're going to be chauffeur driven. It's not a bad car to drive as well. It's a nice car to drive, but definitely does not hold the same sense of dynamism as the A6 has got. The A6 is a much nicer driver's car than the E-Class, but the E-Class holds all the aces where you'd like to be sitting in the back seat and then comforted by that luxury and those fantastic seats. This is a long wheelbase E-Class that we get in India, so that it makes a lot of sense to have that if you're looking for the rear seat comfort bit. Otherwise, if you're looking for a car that you'd like to drive, the A6 makes a lot of sense. It's a fantastic car to drive.
All right, but it's time to wrap up then. Thanks to everybody watching.
Thank you everyone who's been watching, and we'll catch up again very soon. Like I said before, do not forget to log on to overdrive.in. Watch us tomorrow, Saturday and Sunday. Catch the show on CNBC TV 18 as well. The times are posted, so many links put them up over here. And of course, do come back to us on Twitter. Follow us on Twitter, YouTube, Facebook, and all the places elsewhere. And we will see you next Friday. I believe we may or may not see you next Friday. We're not sure. We will definitely
be busy.
we will have a bit of a we will try and see you. Like we said earlier, we are riding down to Goa. There are a couple of drives taking place in Goa next week, and we're heading down there. So Rohit, me, including Anis, our photographer, we'll be riding our motorcycles down to Goa, taking out a road trip. We've been driving cars places so far. This is the first time we're getting out of the motorcycle after the lockdown and heading out for such a long ride. So 600 kilometers to 100, roughly about 1,300 kilometers what we'll be doing. So I'm looking forward to that. It's been quite some time since I've ridden my motorcycle also after coming back from my surgery. So I'm going to put some stress on the knee and see how that performs also.
All right. Everybody, like the scroll suggests, subscribe, like, and share our videos on our YouTube channel. Don't forget to do that. That keeps us motivated and happy as well. We'll see you next week. Have a great weekend.
See you guys. Have a good weekend.